You're listening to Huddle Up with Josh Kelski.
All right, everyone, let's welcome Randy Moller to the show. How are you, Randy?
Great to be here with you.
Let's talk about your hockey career before we go into broadcasting.
Oh, boy.
You started off your professional career with the Quebec Nordiques back in 1981. They picked you in the first round of the draft. Where were you on draft day, and what emotions did you feel when you found out that you were a first-round draft pick?
Oh, I love telling the story. I was actually in Montreal. The draft was in Montreal at the old Montreal Forum. And my agent flew me down because they were pretty sure I was going to go in the first round. And, yeah, I went 11th overall. And right before the draft started, I was so nervous sitting up in the stands waiting for everything to start. I had to go down and go to the bathroom. And I went down the bathroom of the old Montreal Forum, and I'm standing at the urinal, and I look up beside me, and there was one of my childhood heroes, Larry Robinson, the Hall of Fame defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. So that was quite a thrill. Unfortunately, I had to meet him in the bathroom, but that was quite a thrill. But getting drafted was very special to not only to myself but my family as well. And I was pleased to get picked by the Quebec Nordiques with the great rivalry that they had with Montreal at that time.
In your first full season with the Nordiques, you made the playoffs. Tell me a little bit about your first playoff experience.
Well, it's kind of a blur now, but playing against the Montreal Canadiens because of the heated rivalry, it was always so special. 4 times in my 7-year career with the Quebec Nordiques, we were able to play against Montreal. So it's kind of a blur right now, but the intensity of playoff hockey is like no other in any other sport, and I'll always cherish that.
After you played for the Nordiques, you played for the Rangers, the Sabres, and the Cats. What's it like to play for what was only a 1-year-old Panther team in your last season?
Well, it was really special, and it was something that I've never experienced before because when I came down here, as you mentioned, the Panthers were only in their second year, and it was kind of surreal because of the new franchise that was here in South Florida gaining popularity. But also, if you remember, that was the year of the lockout. So we lost because of a work stoppage. We lost half the year. So I only ended up playing 16 games. I was injured, plus of the lockout. So it was a trying year for me, and it actually turned out to be my last year actually playing in the NHL.
As you watch hockey today, how has the game changed? How has the game changed over the years?
It's changed dramatically. The players are bigger, stronger, and I think most impressive is they're faster. The game is so fast now. The speed of the game, I think, is what really electrifies the fans. And remember, the players, as mentioned, are bigger, and they skate faster. They're stronger, yet it's still the same ice dimensions. 200 by 85. There's no out of bounds, so it can get very, very physical. Players have to make decisions very quickly, and because of the skill of the game, goaltending has been much better as well. They're much more athletic and skilled.
And there's around a 10-year gap between playing hockey and broadcasting. So you've been with broadcasting with the Panthers pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
You did play-by-play for 9 years. Some of the phrases that you came up with are legendary. During one of the games, Keith Ballard scored and you yelled, "Mom, where's the meatloaf?" Where in the world did that come from?
Well, it comes from the movie quotes. Had a lot of fun with that. That all started because we were on a radio station down here in South Florida, 790 The Ticket. Dan Lebitard, who is world-renowned now and, of course, very popular on ESPN, both radio and television with his own show, he suggested that after every time the Panthers score that I yell out some kind of a pulp culture phrase. And at first I thought, okay, I'll try that, and it just took off. And I always had a couple of rules. Number one is we always had fun with it, and nobody take it seriously. I didn't realize how popular it would become, and to be on all the national shows and Howard Stern, and that was quite a ride. I'm very proud of it. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it. But that part of my broadcasting career is over now, and I don't know if I'll ever go back to that.
When you became a color analyst for the Panthers, you were mostly seen between the benches, especially a few years ago with Steve Goldstein and Dennis Potvin upstairs. Now that Denny retired, do you have an option that which you prefer, either between the benches or up top?
Yeah, we decided this year that I would do 10 or 11 games between the benches on home ice out of the 41. And then I'm doing, I think, 3 on the road. So I'm still doing some games between the benches. I love it. It's so surreal down there, and you really get a sense, and I'm hopefully being able to relay that to the fans, how quick the game is and what goes on and the competition and the conversations between the players, the coaches, the officials on the ice. That's something that's special to me, and hopefully I can do at least a handful of games every year between the benches.
And now we look at a Panthers team, which looks like the best they've been in years. With the hiring of Coach Q during the offseason, how has the game plan changed?
Well, I think with Joel Quenneville, the one thing you notice is the tempo of the game. The Panthers, the way they practice, even in the morning skates before the games, they're playing at a very high level. He wants them to make decisions quick, shoot the puck, but I think we've all noticed that the defensive play has been much more improved than it has in years past, and that's one of the fortes of Joel Quenneville. He'll give the players all kinds of leeway on the offensive side when they have the puck, but defensively they have to be responsible and play their positions and be committed to the defensive game before they go on offense.
I think it's pretty clear that this team is the real thing this year. We saw just a few nights ago, Panthers were down by 4 against the Bruins in Boston. Cats tied up the game and later won in a shootout. With all your experience in the NHL, how important was that win, and what does it prove about the Panthers to the rest of the NHL?
Well, we could look back. It's one of those games that the Panthers will look back as they go into the playoffs, and one of the games that really defines their season of not giving up. So many games this year, the Panthers have been down, but have been able to come back and gain at least a point, put it into overtime or the shootout. They want to play with the lead, obviously. That's the best recipe for success. But the character that they've shown, especially in that Bruins game, to come back when they could have rolled over in the third period down by 4 and then come back and win it 5-4 in the shootout, that shows that this team has the character, the talent, and the drive and the motivation they're never out of any game, and I think the fans have really gravitated to that.
And right now, the Panthers' first line has been dominating, especially over the last week or so. Why is this the case?
Yeah, the Barkov line, they've been unbelievable. Through the first 19 games, they've got 24 goals and 65 points. There's only 2 other lines in the NHL that have had production like that. I think the main reason is the chemistry that they have on the ice. They seem to know where each other are when they have the puck in the offensive zone. And the second one that's most important is if you watch them the way they play the Barkov line, they never stand still. They're always in motion. And as a former defenseman, I know that that's very difficult to defend against.
And it's nice to see that the Panthers have 2 starting caliber goalies. When Sergei Bobrovsky has an off day, Sam Montembeault steps in, and vice versa. One thing that I've noticed throughout the league is that teams aren't scoring on 2-on-1s nearly as much as they have been. Is it something that the goalies are doing? Why do you think this is happening?
I think one of the things is the athleticism of the goaltenders now. The way that they're able to move laterally from left to right, right to left, and especially when it's an odd man rush, 2-on-1. The other thing that you notice as well is the goaltenders, when that situation happens, they back up in their crease and then rely on their reflexes to make the save when the shot eventually comes.
Well, the Panthers have 13 of their next 15 games at home. After having the hardest start to the season of any NHL team and still hold a spot in the playoff, is there really something like home ice advantage right now? Why is the BB&T so special to the players?
Well, and you hope it is, and it needs to be. The Panthers need to take advantage. All these home games that they have, this is an opportunity for them to really vault themselves into a playoff position, solidify a playoff position in the Eastern Conference, and separate themselves from some of the teams. The teams that they're playing, like the Rangers, Philadelphia next week, they're the teams that they're trying to beat out of the playoffs. And so if they can get the 2 points, they'll separate themselves even more from the competition. this will be the defining moment of this this season. I believe will be this long stretch of games on home ice here at the BB&T Center.
Well, Randy, you mean so much to us. We always love listening to you. I thank you for being on the episode. Maybe we'll have you on sometime soon. It
would be my pleasure to be on again, and I really appreciate you really prepared for this interview, and the questions were fantastic. So thank you very much, and enjoy the Panther season.
Thank you.